it's very clear here that paragraph 1, we're going to write about 2011, right?
Okay.
And paragraph 2, we're going to write about what? 2013.
2012.
No, 2013 mission. And then we're going to mention something. I'll tell you about that after. But most importantly is 2011 and 2013. So that's going to be our paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and conclusion. Okay?
Okay.
So, let's bring this then. Let's start writing. Shall we? Let me take a picture of this one.
Excuse me, could you give to me permission to record, please?
Of course, of course.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. So, the pie graphs provide statistical information regarding so we can say instead the proportion of well, sorry, not the proportion. Let's put the popularity of 5 social media channels in 3 separate years. Okay. So that's structure right there. And I just changed the question a little bit. Okay. 3 separate years. Any questions about that one?
No, thank you.
Okay. An overview of the data indicates that. So when we write the overview sentence, we need to make sure that we're looking at something related to the changes.
Yeah.
And I think the easiest way to do it is to look at 2011 and look at 2013 and just see if there's been a lot of change some change or not much change?
I think there is a lot to change.
I think some change.
Here, 5, 8. Another way to look at it is which
Facebook.
one is the top one in 2011?
Uh,
Facebook.
Facebook.
And in 2013?
Facebook. as
Facebook.
well.
Which one is second?
Twitter.
Twitter.
And which one is second?
Twitter.
Twitter.
Which one is third?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
And which one
LinkedIn.
is third?
LinkedIn.
So even though the percentage is changed, seems like it's still in order, right?
Yes.
So I think we can say some change here, okay? Or some variation.
Mm,
Not completely like so much, all right?
okay.
So an overview indicates that there there had been some variation in the interest for these channels between those years. Key here is there had been, because talking about that period, right? Between 2011, so had been some variation in the interest in these channels between those years. I think if you put here as well, if you put much, I think it's not that different either. You could say much in some ways, okay? This is the easiest way. You could say some channels have been increasing while others have been decreasing. Could say that as well. Any questions about that one?
Um, if I
Hey.
want to use difference rather than variations, this is
Yeah, some, there have been some differences, no changes. Differences,
Change.
yeah, had been some differences, yeah, same. And also changes as well, changes, yeah. Okay, so now let's go to the first year. So when we look at the first year, the easiest way to write the first year is to write it from the top to the bottom. In this case, here to here. And just compare it in between. That's the easiest way. Okay, and I see. Yeah, I can do this here in one. Let's look. So to specify in 2011, strikingly. So in 2011, strikingly. Facebook had the highest of popularity at 59%, which was more than double, okay? Which was, yeah, nearly 3 times. Twitter's percentage. And let's compare it to the last one. We can say threefold. Let's compare here 10, sixfold, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And roughly sixfold greater than LinkedIn's proportion at 10%. Okay. So to specify in 2011 strikingly, so we go from the highest. Facebook had the highest rate of popularity at 59%. That one, which was okay, it was nearly 3 times. This one as well, like this. Nearly 3 times higher than Twitter's percentage with 21%. And roughly sixfold greater than comparative there, LinkedIn's proportion at 10%. Okay. So what we did was we compared the top 3. Okay. Any questions about that?
Thank you.
Good. So again, we're going in order 59, 21, 10. Now we're going to look at these two over here. Just one quick sentence to say about them. They are equal. That's Google Plus and Pinterest. Okay. All right. And we can say, we have a phrase that we can use for that one. And we can say, while insignificantly at the bottom were Google Plus and Pinterest. And Pinterest's were Google Plus and Pinterest with an equal percentage of 5%.
Sorry, Leo, when we say sixfold is 6 times?
Yes, yes. So that's two ways of saying times, okay? So you can say 3 times or sixfold, threefold,
Okay.
sixfold, or 6 times. Same meaning. While insignificantly at the bottom were. Any questions about that one?
Thank you.
No? Good. So, that is that year. 2011. And we know the second paragraph we're going to talk about 2013. But what about 2012? 2012, even though, I mean, you could write, I know that some, I don't think, well, you don't have to write all the information about it. That's the most important. Because one, you don't have time, and two, it's not the most important year. The beginning and the end are the most important. So, all we need to do is look at the second year, and we need to pick out something interesting or a big change or something. What do you think? Or some big changes?
Facebook reduced their popularity.
Uh-huh. 10% change, right?
Yes.
So, I would agree with you. What else?
Can I say something general? For example, all social media had increasing, a little increasing, except Facebook.
Yeah, you could say that. So you can say here increased, 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 increased. Yeah, actually that. So you could say that as well. Either one I think is good here. I was thinking you could say Google Plus had doubled, whereas Facebook had dropped 10%. So I think both, or you can say all social media sites had increased except for Facebook. Yeah. So I think either one is good. I'm looking at this one here. We can also say that in 2013.
Yeah.
But we want to be more, remember, we want to be general. So I think we'll go with what you said here, Mabel. So we'll say, interestingly, it's more groupy. In 2012, all these So interestingly, in 2012, all channels had increased. I didn't really say anything about marginally or anything. The reason is because this one here doubled, 5 to 10. So I just didn't say anything about a lot, a little, nothing. Okay? Which is fine, except for not including Facebook, which had seen a 10% drop. Okay. Any questions about that one? All right. So let's get to the last paragraph. Comparatively, by 2013, remarkably. So when we look at the last paragraph, we need to make sure that we emphasize the biggest changes. Yeah. And it seems like the biggest changes are which ones?
Yes.
Which ones?
I think Facebook, because decrease almost 20%.
Right?
And I think Google increase, yes,
Mm-hmm.
had the bigger increase.
Right. And then everything else is marginal. Yeah. Okay. We're going to say that exactly. Let's say interest in Google Plus had nearly incremented by 3 times. Facebook had continued its downward spiral to 38%. Okay. Comparatively by 2013, remarkably. That is our structural connection. Interest in Google Plus had incremented. Well, let's put here had continued to increment. We did mention something about it already. Let's also put moderately. Yeah. It's not so much, not so little. Moderately.
Not marginally, not dramatically.
Right. By nearly 3 times to 14% is our stat here. Nearly 3 times to 14%. Whereas Facebook had continued. We did mention its fall in 2011. That's why we said had continued. Its downward spiral. So downward spiral is a way of saying it's dropping fast, going down quickly. A spiral is like turning. It kind of means had continued to significantly fall. Okay? Any questions about that one? Let's put that in green. It's kind of a comparative. Now, let's get on to mentioning 10, 12, 15, 21, 23, 25. 5, 6, 8. Well, notably, Twitter's and LinkedIn proportions had marginally risen. So first of all, I'm saying here that they have marginally risen, okay? Talking about both of those. I see here marginally because 21, 23, 25 is marginally, 10, 12, 15 marginally, okay? Now I see that they're both going up, but I see a difference, right? This one is in second and third, so had remained. So we're gonna say here, we're gonna use our former latter phrase. However, the former had remained in second place. Actually, here I should put to 25% and 15% respectively.
Serious.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay. However, the former remained in second place, while the latter in third. So I just emphasized their position here just to make it look a little bit better. Okay. So notably, Twitter's and LinkedIn's proportions had marginally risen to 25% and 15% respectively. Over here, we can see that 25%, 15%. Okay. However, the former Twitter, right, had remained in second place, while the latter, LinkedIn, in third. Any questions about this sentence?
This question is continued at this point to 38%, or is apart?
In comparison to 38?
It means notably, you put apart, or continue this point to say to 38 point.
Oh, no, this is all one paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah, same paragraph. This is a new sentence, but same paragraph.
Okay.
But different sentence, yeah. So now we still have time to mention Pinterest, okay? So we can say, it is worth noting that, jumped to 8% and retained So it is worth noting that had slightly jumped. To 8%. And had stayed in the lowest position. Okay. So that one was about the lowest, okay?
Likely there's some message.
Sorry?
Had slightly jump. Letter of L and slightly.
Oh. Well, it didn't say anything to me. The computer didn't say anything. Strange. Okay. All right, so in this paragraph, we looked at the changes that took place by 2013, the changes that happened. All right. Now, we are going to write our concluding sentence. To sum up from these graphs, we can ascertain that well, it seems to me like Facebook's control had decreased, right?
Yeah.
Because Facebook almost had 2/3 in 2011.
Yeah.
And then it had dropped to 1/3. Yeah. So that's what we need to emphasize here. We can ascertain that Facebook's dominance of the social media market had tumbled between these years, particularly due to a rise in its competitors. Okay. So to sum up, from these graphs, we can ascertain that Facebook's dominance of the social media market had tumbled. Tumbled is like fall a lot between those years. I have to say those. Particularly due to, because of a rise in its competitors. Basically what it says there. Any questions about that summary sentence? 204 words. That's pretty good. In my case, 204 words means it was easy.
Yeah.
We've had other ones that are 250 words because there's so much more information. Okay, so let's recap. So we had some pie graphs. Okay. 3 years. It says the charts below show the percentages of interest in some common social media channels. So we were analyzing this information. Okay. We start with our introductory here. Go ahead, Michelin. Oh, 1 second, Michelin. Sorry.
Hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, go ahead, Michelin. Go ahead.
The pie graphs provide statistical information regarding the popularity of 5 social media channels in 3 separate years.
Okay, now let's get to the overview here. We generalize it. Go ahead, Fahima.
Review of data indicates that there had been some variations in the interest in these channels between those years.
Okay, some variation. Okay, now let's get to the first paragraph where we're looking at 2011 in order. Okay, go ahead, Mabel.
To specify, in 2011, strictly, Facebook had the highest rate of popularity at 59%, which was nearly 3 times higher than Twitter's percentage with 21%, and roughly 6-fold greater than LinkedIn's proportion at 10%.
Okay, so we're talking from highest to lowest. And the next two, Carolina?
While insignificantly at the bottom were Google Plus and Pinterest with an equal percentage of 5%.
So those two were at the bottom for 2011. And then we just remember the year that's in between, it's not the most important year. As long as we say one sentence, if we can say one sentence that says everything like we did here, that would be good. But we don't have to. We can just say something that changes a lot that year. Okay? That's what we managed to say, one that says everything. Go ahead, Michelin.
While insignificantly,
Interesting.
interestingly, in 2012, all channels had increased except for Facebook, which had seen a 10% drop.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the last year where we're going to focus on the changes here. Okay, Fahima?
Comparatively, by 2013, remarkably interesting, Google had continued to moderately increment by nearly 3 times to 12%, whereas Facebook had continued its downward spiral to 38%.
Okay, all right. Then we said something about the Twitter and LinkedIn. Go ahead, Mabel.
Notably, Twitter's and LinkedIn's proportion had marginally risen to 25% and 15% respectively. However, the former had remained in the second place, while the latter in the third.
And then we mentioned Pinterest. Go ahead, Curlia.
It is worth noting that Pinterest popularity had slightly jumped to 8% and had stayed in the lowest position.
Okay. Good, and then we summarize everything at the bottom. Summarize, and go ahead, Micheline.
To sum up, from this graph, we can ascertain that Facebook's dominance of the social media market had tumbled between those years, particularly due to a rise in its competitor.
Exactly.